This is Ohio.
This is Ohio.
So, Jack, you have a daughter who dances ballet.
I sure do. And every August, we begin a journey that doesn't end until the weekend after Thanksgiving.
So, tell me, how can you do that? Like, year after year after year?
Well, first of all, she loves it. And she loves being with her friends. And she loves the energy of the production. And that energy flows from one man.
It's 25 minutes until curtain. Director Bob Cole is checking in with the ballet dancers on stage for the opening scene.
Okay. Any questions, Clara?
We made a little message to tell Fritz when to grab the sugar plums. As I'm passing it out, I'm going to look to the side like someone's calling me, and that's his signal to start pulling. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, we'll find out, won't we? That's brilliant. I'm glad you guys thought of that, coming up with a way to make it work. That's really good.
You ready for this? Go like
Well, you guys have a great show, okay?
No, go like this. Get Brennan to tap you on the shoulder.
This is the 28th year Bob has directed the Nutcracker for the Central Ohio Youth Ballet in Newark, Ohio. As usual, the house is filling to capacity in the historic Midland Theater. Word has spread about the enchanting magic that animates this version of the ballet. The stunning waltz of the snowflakes with falling snow, and how beautifully the children inhabit their characters.
Now, did you do what I asked you to do to your shoes yet?
Not yet.
You should do that now. That way you don't run out. Yeah, and it's not wet. It's just damp, okay?
So like if I took a spray bottle without
A spray bottle. Let's do it right, because where's your rosin?
right over here.
Okay, let's do it right now, okay? That way, oops, sorry.
It's a gift to a small community like Newark, Ohio, to have someone with Bob Cole's experience teaching local youth this art form. But how did Bob get here? Or get to ballet in the first place, for that matter? That's an inspiring story with lots of crazy turns. Through it all, Bob was always moving. Literally moving. An army brat, his family kept leaving one location for another, and Bob kept having to switch schools. An energetic and extroverted boy, he easily felt at home in sports. Sometimes he got lucky. An adult nudged him in a new direction, such as this middle school English teacher.
Talking to me after class, and she goes, "Look, I'll tell you what, if you stay in my English class, you're going to barely pass. But if you take my drama class, you will get the same English credits and you'll pass." Well, I took her advice and I found out that I came naturally to actually doing the acting.
Acting and storytelling would be foundational for the rest of Bob's life. Still, his focus was in athletics, long-distance running, and wrestling. His goal was to compete at a high level in wrestling until a devastating ankle injury derailed that dream. As he healed from that injury, he injured the same leg again playing soccer. He showed up at a new school in a newer and even bigger cast.
I had cast all the way up to my hip, one of those long casts, and they worked it down. At the new school I went to, they had a dance club, and they did all the swing dancing and stuff like that, and there were a couple of girls in there I thought were really cute, and so I was joking around with them, and even with the cast on, dancing around with them, and then when I got the cast finally off and started physical therapy, I was talking to the lady that was doing physical therapy about my ankle, and she says, "Well, you should try ballet because ballet will strengthen your ankle and help you out. It's good therapy for it." And I thought, nah. And then they had a guest person from Maryland Ballet Arts come in and teach a class or give a class in ballet there, and talked me and another football player, a couple of the girls, to go, watch a class and take a class there. And I remember my first experience was like, there's no way you're going to get me in a pair of nylons. Long story short, being around the girls and all this stuff, I decided, okay, I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. And to my surprise, it was just as hard as doing the distance running and the wrestling physically. You had to be more flexible, but I was pretty flexible for the wrestling. It had the music, which I did there. And, I also enjoyed musical theater a whole lot too. So I was thinking my music and dancing, would also go into that. And I was into theater.
Bob started learning ballet at the age of 17. At the time, his parents had moved on without him to Panama. He was finding shelter where he could. Soon, he was living in a ballet studio in exchange for doing janitorial and handyman duties. He took to the art form of ballet rapidly, and within 3 years, he was performing in professional dance companies, eventually rising to the National Ballet of Canada. When he talks about what propelled him this deeply into ballet, you can feel the energy of dance in his words.
When you're out there and it's like a person running a race and they're coming to that end and it's that excitement and you're doing it well, or you're hitting those high points. You know what I'm talking about? It's a high. It really is. It's like anybody does a great performance. It's like you're excited about it, all this other stuff. And when your body's tuned, it feels really good. And just to have that pure power, musicality, the audience, the lights. I mean, it just brings. It's amazing.
Eventually, a scan would show that the ankle which Bob had injured several times previously no longer had any cartilage in it. His dancing career was over. He now thought about running his own dance company, and he knew just how he would want to run it, emphasizing narrative and story over technique and style. When he came to Newark, Ohio, to direct the Central Ohio Youth Ballet, he became not just a teacher of dance, but in many ways, a teacher of life.
Some of these guys haven't experienced a whole lot in life. They're very young, and you turn. I can remember I was doing Giselle one year, and the young lady, her daughter's now taking from me. Turned around and she was doing Giselle, and at the end of Giselle, she finds out that, the guy that she's in love with is the prince and has already promised to marry somebody else, and her heart's broken and she dies of a broken heart. And she did love beautifully because she had a loving, warming family and everything like that. She was joy and all this other stuff. But when it got to the sorrow part, she could not get it because she hadn't experienced. And I said, well, have you ever lost a pet? And she had never lost a pet. It was just like, okay, have you ever lost a pet? She had never experienced a loss in that line. So how do you teach somebody, or how do you get that emotion from somebody, and how do you help them find that? And change within it, and how to draw from things. It's
What'd you do?
I did I what?
Did you go take away her pet?
No. This is going to sound horrible but it worked because I couldn't figure out what to do, and there were two girls up for the role. Two girls doing it. I share a major role like that, and she kept trying. She tried the hardest she could, but she could not get that sorrow thing. And I sat there and I looked at her at this time and I said, well, if we can't get it because you look like you're laughing when this is happening, I can't have you as Giselle. So, whatever the other girl's name, she's going to have to do all the performances. So, you can understudy it, but you got to have sadness. You got to feel that, and you can't. And I apologize for it and all that stuff. So I had the other girl come out, and she was dancing with the other girl's partner because I had two guys, and she was partnering. And I noticed over on the side, she was over there crying. I mean, she was really broken heart. And I'm sorry, it's getting. It's emotional to me, too, because I hate doing things like that. And I sit there and I go, do you know how you feel right now? And she goes, yeah. And I go, use that. Use that. That's the feeling there. You're going to get the part. I'm giving you the part. I'm not going to take it away from it. You're working too hard for me to ever take that away. She did the opening night of Giselle. And it was very electric. And at the end of Act 1, before there's the intermission, then Act 2 starts. In the Act 1, she dies. Act 2, it's in the graveyard. It's all done in the graveyard. And I can remember it going out there, the audience was applauding, it's going on and everything like that. And at the end, she goes mad, does the mad scene and dies. And there's a picture show, the curtain comes down. lights come up into the audience. And I sat there and I waited, and nobody said anything. It was no applause, nothing. It was dead silence. And I was sitting there, and this was at the Midland Theater, and I was going, oh my gosh, it was a flop. It was a flop. It did not work. And then I saw people getting up, wiping their eyes and everything like that. And I said, no, it was a huge success. They were so emotionally attached to her feeling of that sadness. It was just like, it was blowing away.
Bob walks by carolers in the lobby of the theater. He likes to take a quick look out front before heading backstage again. Dancers for this year's production of the Nutcracker have come from up to 30 miles away, and whole families or parts of families are in the production. He nurtures his young dancers by creating a safe space for them to take chances.
The girl that's doing Clara today, she was afraid of doing things, and then she saw me working with one of the girls in the rehearsal last year, and she saw the girl make a mistake, and I sat there and I go, no, you did an awesome job. You did the best you can. And that opened her up to say, I'm willing to take chances and do the best I can, and as long as I'm doing the best I can. And I like that.
For these reasons and more, this is why the Central Ohio Youth Ballet is able to fill the historic Midland Theater in Central Ohio for 3 performances of the Nutcracker year after year. And this year, they are taking the show up to Mount Vernon as well. It's now 5 minutes until curtain, and Bob is still working with dancers on how they can make their parts
you
their
make
own.
it look like it's supposed to be that extra little step if you have it. Watch out, ladies. Up and down and there, and then she'll come to you. Perfect. That was really nice, Brian.
Okay, thank you.
Good job.
Thank you for having me.
Are you having fun, Piper? Awesome job. It looks like you are. You keep up the good work, okay? And I love the little mouse there. Keep it up, okay?
When he introduces the show, he encourages the audience to cheer on the performers when they see good work. And after every series of twirls, every magic trick, that's exactly what the audience does. Bob has created a whole community that is always moving. Music for This Is Ohio is by Matt Jackford.
This story was produced by me, Jack Schuler,
And me, Doug Swift.
and edited by you, Doug Swift.
To see a multimedia version of this story, including pictures, go to our website.
TheReportingProject.org.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.